breaking a sweat.
It's alright.
I'm breaking a sweat.
It's alright.
I'm breaking a sweat.
It's alright.
I'm breaking a sweat.
That's good.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Fly Like an Eagle podcast. I am your host, Kyle Megger, along with my sidekick, Zach Harris, for tonight. Zop and Trevor are off for the evening. How are you guys doing tonight? Now, before I bring Zach in, I'm going to have to get going with this Carson Wentz Colt rant because I've had an absolute shit show of a day today. And I'm sorry for cursing. I don't mean to curse. It is a kid's show. What kind of a kid's show? I don't really care. But with that being said, this Carson Wentz Colt is at the last straw. I'm sick and tired of these Carson Wentz stands and not these Eagles fans talking for the fan base for them. I'm sick and tired of all these people just coming into my matches, or not even coming to my matches, just all these people just saying Carson Wentz this, Carson Wentz that. It's like these Eagles fans don't even talk about the team anymore. They just talk about the quarterback. And today, I'll give you a prime example. Zach, I think his name is what? Jack Fritz from WIP. Jack Fritz from WIP said today, out of nowhere, I might mind you, he said, Nick Foles is a horrible quarterback. Let's face it. So my buddy Zomp, who's in the comments section, probably going to be commenting back and forth because he's going to get really triggered tonight. I don't really give a fuck. But he said that literally out of nowhere, which brings me to my next point. Last night, we literally had a random stream talking about this Carson Wentz and Nick Foles debate. And it's weird to me because Zomp says after the show, we didn't really get that many viewers, but, obviously someone had to watch, right? Because how would anybody from anywhere just bring up a Carson Wentz and Nick Foles debate out of nowhere? Literally nowhere, but nobody watches our shit, right, Zomp? The guy that's saying that Nick Foles is a terrible quarterback, he also said that Chase Utley is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So you have to take his tweets with a grain of salt. And I am just so sick and tired of this whole Carson Wentz and Nick Foles narrative. First of all, Nick Foles hasn't been on the team in 2 years. And you're still talking like he's on the team backing up our star quarterback who hasn't, let's face it, stayed healthy in a big moment since 2017. So it's time to get back it's time to get back to winning us football games when it means something, Carson Wentz. Yes, I'm talking to you, Carson Wentz, because I'm a real Eagles fan and I'm itching to get some Eagles wins, get back to the playoffs, win playoff games with our franchise quarterback, and not live in some fantasy world where you're not winning us jack shit and pretending that you are. Because you're not. At the end of the day, you're not. And I'm saying that because I'm a real Eagles fan. And these dopes out there, like on Twitter, just praising the guy that has good stats, flashy stats, but they don't know what they're talking about when they advertise these flashy stats because they literally have no idea what goes on in the game of football. It's like they don't even watch the games. It's something called situational plays, situational times in games where the momentum completely swings and the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. It's like he's standing there on 3rd and 5, looking for someone, surveying the field, looking for someone that's wide open. There's a hole right there where he could just run for the first down, but literally either takes the sack, number one, or throws it away, or throws an interception. That he doesn't do much because he doesn't really turn the ball over, so that's a bad point right there. But he does everything other than run for the first down. And that's what bothers me because what gives you the right, and I'm talking to the Wentz stands out there, what gives you the right to give this guy such high praise time in and time out and talk about nobody else on the team when he doesn't deserve it? He doesn't deserve it. This isn't 2017 anymore. This is a new dawn. This is a new day. This is a guy that hasn't been reliable since 2017. And we're talking like he won the Super Bowl and he could do no wrong. All right? I said last night, the playoffs are a different ball game. You don't know what you're going to get in the playoffs. Did he set us up for home field advantage? Sure. He did. All right. He won 11 games. I think he had 2 losses. He set us up for the first seed. Obviously, Nick Foles won the Giants game that got us the first seed overall. But let's not talk about that. Carson Wentz did what Donovan McNabb has done over his entire career. Set us up for greatness in the playoffs. 4 straight NFC Championship games with absolutely nobody. And I mean nobody. T.O. got hurt in 2004, so nobody. He got us to the Super Bowl with nobody, I might mind you. All right, this guy did it consistently. What did he do in the big moments? Nothing. So what makes you think that Carson Wentz wouldn't be the same as Donovan McNabb in that aspect? I'm just asking you guys that question because as much as I really want to like Carson Wentz going down the road, as much as I want to go back to everyone being an Eagles fan and just banding together and just being one, you just can't do it. You can't do it because it's Carson Wentz this, Carson Wentz that. You're no longer talking about how good the defense did. You're no longer talking about how great the coaching was. It's all about Carson Wentz, and I'm sick of it. It's not about one guy. It's as Zomp actually likes to say, it's about the wings on the helmet and not the player on the back. Carson Wentz is going to be gone, whether you like it, off this team in the next 7 to 8 years. All right, he's not going to be here forever. So if we win a title with him, great. If we don't, it is what it is. We are Eagles fans, and we want the best for this team no matter who's under center. We want the best for this team no matter who's on the defense. We want the best for this team no matter who the coach is. We are Eagles fans. This fan base is fucking soft and delusional right now, and it is just horrible. It is horrible, and it's been horrible for the last 3 years since we've won the Super Bowl. I told my buddy 2 days after the Super Bowl, when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl for us, that is going to be a fucking nightmare until Carson Wentz wins one for himself. And you're seeing it firsthand. It will not go away, and it's absolutely pathetic. It is horrible. With that being said, I'm going to bring in Zach Harris. What do you think about this rant so far, sir?
Oh, man, you really brought the fire. I'm going to be a little more laid back than you. I actually like Carson Wentz. I'm a big Carson Wentz guy. Bought his jersey as soon as he got drafted. But that being said, we talked about how he has elite talent. We just need to see that consistently. You brought up the McNabb point. He had Todd Pigston, L.J. Smith. He's had FredEx. People forget FredEx was in and out of the league before you could say what. So that doesn't even count. What? He had one play, 4th and 26. Great job. So in that aspect, Eagles fans kind of coddle Carson Wentz a little bit. And I love Carson Wentz. I think Nick Foles, caught the right tide at the right time and led us to a Super Bowl, but 2017's 3 years ago. It's time to move on. Carson Wentz is our guy, but he needs to play like our guy. So at the end of the day, he needs to take that elite talent and just consistently, over and over, build us wins. Because at the end of the day, you can be great on third down, you can be great in the red zone. As long as it leads to wins, I don't care if you throw for 150 yards or 350 yards. I want wins. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's something that McNabb did, whether it was run for the first down, whether it was play with broken ribs, whether it was throw for 300 yards. It didn't matter. He did whatever it took to win the game. And I think being off that injury, Carson Wentz, the further away he gets from that injury, the more he's going to get back to that running that you've seen previously. I know that you've been craving it, but you could tell he's a little hesitant. He wants to run. He just doesn't feel like he can. He doesn't feel safe running. But I think the further away from this injury we get, the more mobile Carson Wentz we're going to see. And as you know, he's better when he's out of the pocket. I think you're going to start seeing that more on out this coming year. We brought in a lot of different offensive talent on the coaching side. We're going to get a different game plan, and hopefully that brings out the best in Carson Wentz. Maybe not a 2017 season, but definitely a lot better than the last 2 years where all you've seen was numbers and it didn't really produce to wins.
But Zach, who says that he's ever going to go back to that? Who says he's ever going to go back to 2017? The last time that he actually rolled out like that and ran for a first down or any kind of score himself, he ran into 2 linebackers and split his knee in half. So who says that he's not thinking, well, that could happen again and it's going to hurt like shit, even though he got paid $100 million? Who says that he's ever going to go back to that? Even though someone gets money, let's be honest, $100 million is nothing to shy away from. But even though he got paid, he's always going to think in the back of his mind, oh shit, I'm going to get hit hard. And maybe that's why he doesn't play up to his standards anymore. And honestly, I'm going to go with, I don't know if he's ever going to get back to that level. I don't know. I hope he does because he was brilliant. I loved Carson Wentz in 2017. I thought we were going to win the Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. I really did, up until obviously my playoff point. But the guy just hasn't shown the same charisma. He hasn't shown the same pocket presence. He hasn't shown the same anything since 2017. You could take those stats and say whatever you want with them, but stats are stats at the end of the day. Stats are for fucking nerds and losers. Stats aren't for people that pay attention to the game of football and see exactly what goes on in the field, in situational play, and in big moments. And Carson Wentz, let's face it or not, you could call those 3 games at the end of the season last year big wins. I call them kind of stiff wins because let's face it, 3 of those teams were garbage and 1 of those teams quit on their coach. So I really do not give a shit. I'm saying it how it is. And some people in the comment section, actually everyone in the comment section doesn't like what I'm saying, but I really don't care. Someone needs to tell you guys. And the cult of Carson Wentz needs to get the fuck out of here.
All right, so to rebuttal what you just said, first of all, I agree with the whole stats and everything. My favorite line is stats are like bikinis. While they reveal a lot, they don't reveal everything. You need the context around the stats in order to make them what they are. So that being said, Carson Wentz, I don't need him to run 20 times a game. So if you guys are talking about, oh, we don't need a running quarterback, we need enough of a mobile quarterback that RPOs are going to work, that there's a threat of Carson Wentz running. We don't necessarily need him putting himself in harm's way. We just need him to have that threat. Nick Foles was never a running quarterback, but he had that threat of possibly running for 5-7 yards when needed to. So that's what really got the RPO going. And if you take a look at that 2017 season, especially in the postseason, what did we run the most? RPOs, and Nick Foles crushed it. He's not a mobile quarterback compared to Carson Wentz. So nobody's saying that he needs to go running wild like Lamar Jackson or something.
Okay.
All we're saying is that you need to be mobile enough. You need to show that threat and get that RPO going. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing about the RPOs. You know, they like to dummy down the playbook for Nick Foles because he couldn't get the job done when it came to Carson Wentz's playbook. I understand that. But Carson Wentz's playbook right now really isn't working for him. So why don't you dumb it down a little bit for him, make it easier for him so he could get back to normal and adjust his playing style? Doesn't it make more sense to do that? Or maybe Doug's just turning into a dumbass. I don't know what's going on there. You know, it's just something to talk about.
And one other point I've seen in the comment sections, RPO has nothing to do with a running quarterback. It actually does, because an RPO is either run or a pass option. That's exactly what it stands for. So you're either running the ball, you're having your running back run the ball, or you're throwing a quick slant, something along those lines. I think the problem here is that there was so much Nick Foles love that people actually got hurt at the fact that he was getting so much love that now it's overpowering with Wentz love, and it kind of divided the fan base.
Yeah.
2017 was great. Both quarterbacks had a integral part into that Super Bowl run. But the time's to move on. Nick Foles, we'll always love him. He won us the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz, you're our guy. Lead us to the promised land.
Yeah, exactly. And I amen to that. You know, last year I was like, this guy has to bring us to the promised land. And you know what? Last year I didn't see any of that. You go to that Detroit Lions game, you go to that the beginning of that Atlanta Falcons game where he looked absolutely abysmal. And you know, who is it? Josh McCown came in and almost led the team down the field with the most simple passes of all time. You know, little quick slants, 5-out slants, 10-out slants, quick as shit. And Carson Wentz couldn't even complete a pass. It's like simple stuff like that. Like the Detroit Lions game, it looked like we were going to go right down the field, and we started off with 3 points instead of 7. It's stuff like that. You have to stop starting slow. And Carson Wentz, we paid him a boatload of money. He needs to do his job. He needs to go back to what he was in 2017. Maybe not press as much, because to me it looks like he's pressing a little bit too much because it hurt him seeing Nick Foles finish his job for him. And I understand that, because being a competitive person myself, if someone finished what I started myself, I would absolutely hate it. Like I really would. Like as Zomp says, he's like, it's basically you built the house, but someone finished it by painting it. You know, it makes a lot of sense. I understand that, but if he's pressing right now, he's got to stop pressing and go back to his normal self. He just had a kid. Maybe it's a sign for things to come to where he won't have as much pressure on him. Maybe he'll relax a little bit more, and maybe he will go back to that level. But for right now, this fan base is just driving me absolutely nuts. And that tweet came out of nowhere today. It came out of nowhere. The guy's a statue in the middle and at the beginning of the Lincoln Financial Field. He has a statue. And the guy was like, let's face it, he was a horrible quarterback. Came completely out of left field, you know, and that's what WIP does. That's why no one ever listens to that station anymore, because they drive that narrative. They drive bullshit because there's nothing better going on every single day, and it's just sickening. Nobody listens to them anymore. They suck.
Well, I'm not going to hop on the whole Nick Foles thing because I'm absolutely done with it. I was done with it in early 2018 when we started to have that Super Bowl hangover. Fans were calling for Wentz. and then Wentz comes in, he doesn't play to the level that we know, and then all of a sudden he's hurt, he gets pulled out. Nick Foles leads us to the playoffs again, so I'm not going to get into that conversation.
Nick Mattello on Facebook. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Nick Mattello on Facebook said probably the smartest comment of the night. He's making a highlight when he should just make plays. You know, he's trying to make gold out of garbage when he should be just making the simple plays, and he just nailed it right on the head. That's what I've been looking for the whole night. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate that.
All right, so back to my point. Whether you love it or hate it, last year, those 4 games where he was in a must-win situation, I don't care that they were garbage teams. I don't care they were bottom feeders. That did so much for his confidence. The fact that he, like it or not, he probably regained the locker room in those 4 games. I'm not going to say he lost the locker room, but there was rumors that there was Nick Foles guys and there was Carson Wentz guys. I think with those 4 games, as well as he's played with the talent that he had around him, that got the confidence in everybody in the locker room. And I'm kind of curious to see how Alshon Jeffrey is going to fit with this team once he comes back halfway through the season, how Deshaun Jackson's going to fit with this team, because these are guys that obviously the further away from you get from the line, the bigger the ego is. So you got 2 ego guys. Are they going to take a step back for Carson Wentz and let him be the leader and let him do what he needs to do and spread the ball around? Or are they going to be like, gimme, 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 gimme? Yep. But the fact is, those 4 games against whoever they played boosted his confidence way above and beyond where it was after the 2017 season. And I think that really is going to bring the locker room together. And I'm really curious to see what he does. I think this is going to be a good year for him.
Exactly. And do you get that sense from Eagles fans that they're just a little bit scared and nervous for Carson Wentz? Because instead of talking about Carson Wentz sometimes, they shift their attention to Jalen Hurts, who was drafted this year. And if anybody knows the sport of football, you should not be talking about the backup quarterback ever. Once the backup quarterback goes into the game, usually the season's over. Am I right? Like, it's usually over. Like, your star quarterback is the guy that brings you to the promised land, and people are talking like Jalen Hurts is going to take over his job or something. You know, you get a backup quarterback for emergencies. It's an emergency player, guys. Nick Foles was a prime player at that position because he was actually a starter at one time. You don't get starters that much in the NFL when it comes to the backup position. Jalen Hurts, I say it 1,000 times. Zach doesn't agree with me. I think Jalen Hurts sucks. But he's an emergency quarterback that may not even beat out Nate Sudfeld for the backup role. And Nate Sudfeld sucks. So you just honestly have to take a chill pill when it comes to the backup position. Let Wentz do his thing, and we'll see what happens.
Well, the whole Jalen Hurts situation, and I know people are going crazy at the fact that Doug Peterson said he might be a third-string quarterback. Well, no shit. We're in the middle of a pandemic. He's trying to learn the playbook from home and not getting any reps with anybody. So you take a look at what he needs to do and what he needs to accomplish to be the backup quarterback. Nate Sudfeld's been in this system for 3 years. He damn well sure better be the fucking backup quarterback, because if Jalen Hurts is the backup quarterback and this dude's been in there for 3 friggin' years, why is he even on the team? Why is he on the team if he can't be second string? At least in the beginning of the year, while Jalen Hurts is still learning the playbook. That, to me, is just asinine that people would be all up in arms about him being third string. Then you take a look at what Jalen Hurts can bring. You sit there and you look at the Ravens and what they did with Joe Flacco and how, I forget how many games, the first 5 or 8 games, you sit there, you take a look at what they did. They got Lamar Jackson in there for about 19, 20 plays a game, and they really got him acclimated to the NFL game until he was ready to take over. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is going to take over for Carson Wentz, but I think you're going to see a little bit of that. You're going to see a different part of the offense that you saw with the Joe Flacco and the Lamar Jackson. And then when he's accustomed to the NFL play, when he's accustomed to the NFL speed, he is going to be the second string quarterback, whether Kyle likes it or not.
Right, and I have to go to this comment in the comment section. Sports Maniac, you can't say Hurts sucks yet. He hasn't played it down in the NFL. Well, the reason why I'm saying he sucks is because he got benched at halftime against, who was it, Georgia, in the national championship game, and a freshman took over and won the game for them. So that's why I'm saying that he can't get the job done. He had all that talent in the world at Alabama, and he couldn't he couldn't work with it. And he also sucked against Kansas State with Oklahoma, which he had one of the best wide receivers in the draft in CeeDee Lamb. I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy at all. I think he's a better
really
running guy.
Baylor.
Huh?
He did play really good against Baylor, though.
Yeah, but
when
it's
they fell
Baylor.
behind early.
Yeah, but look at the conference. They don't have any defense there.
Baylor actually had a decent defense last year.
I don't know. And here's a good stat. Hurts is 38-4 as a start. He's played on 2 great teams throughout his college football career. He's had a lot to work with, So, and I see that Tua's brother's going to Maryland. That's a little bit weird for me.
Well, because the head coach for Maryland was in the Alabama system when Tua was there, so they kind of have a little bit of repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he's going to Maryland. A lot of people thought that Jalen Hurts would go to Maryland. He thought about it, but he wanted to go where the best players were.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me because Maryland's not really that good of a team, in my opinion. I mean, Rutgers is going to be good in 2021. Watch out for them.
I want Bryce Young to be the starter at Alabama anyway, so it don't matter to me.
Yep, it's true. He was the offensive coordinator for Alabama. Who are we talking about here?
The head coach of Maryland.
Okay, Okay, that makes sense then. But yeah, basically, that's pretty much the rant. You have anything else to say, Zach? You had a lot of intellect tonight. You've been on the money the last 2 nights, man.
Well, this is really a situation that I've seen across Facebook, Twitter, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm grateful for Nick Foles. Nick Foles did what some backups can't do. You had Giants backup do it once before. You had the Bears backup do it once before. But honestly, not many quarterbacks come in a backup situation and lead you to the promised land.
No, they don't.
So I'm grateful for Nick Foles, but I'm ready to move on. Mm-hmm. I think Nick Foles, and you're going to disagree with me, I think he's more of a veteran quarterback that shifts from team to team. I think he's kind of like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I know you're going to hate on that a little bit, but just think about it. When Nick Foles is hot, he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. When Ryan Fitzpatrick's hot, he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But too often, he's not on target.
Yeah, I mean, see, Nick Foles, to me, he's always showed up in big games. So that's the reason why I take Nick Foles over a lot of QBs in the league, personally, because I care about the big games. I don't really care about the middle of the season games where you lose and it doesn't matter. I care about the big moments, the big situations, and let's face it, he battled and he won against Tom Brady. So that's something that I don't know if Wentz would have been able to do that. That's the thing. So
that's my injuries, might I remind you. JP was out. Darren Sproles was out. We had, 11 injuries?
Mm-hmm. All right, this is a good question, actually. What does Wentz need to do this year for you to admit he's elite, Kyle? How many touchdowns and yards? It's not about touchdowns and yards to me. It's about what can you do in the playoffs, all right? I want to see him win a playoff game. He could have 45 touchdowns this year, 8 interceptions, 5,000 yards. If he doesn't win a playoff game, it won't matter to me. It just won't. I don't care about stats. I personally don't. I want to win football games. I'm an Eagles fan. I want to win another trophy. That's all I care about, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I'm not looking into the box score. I'm not trying to read stats. Like I told you, if he throws for 150 yards, they get a win. If he throws for 350 yards, he gets a win. I just don't want to start off 3-4, 4-4. I want to get off to a good start. I want him to be able to compete all season, and he needs to show the ability to not get behind the 8 ball.
Right.
So that's all I'm looking for. He has elite talent. He just needs to consistently show up in game time. Like when we played the New England Patriots in Philadelphia, you can't fumble on your own side of the fucking field.
Mm-hmm.
You gave up a field goal. You could have easily won that game. That was a game there for the having. And too many times you see him fumble. Now, would it be nice if he cut down to fumbling? Yeah, but that's also part of him extending plays. You see it with Ben Roethlisberger. How many times have you seen him in a big moment against the Ravens not be able to hold on to the ball, trying to extend a play? So that's going to come with him trying to extend plays, with him trying to make the big play. And it's a habit that hopefully eventually he gets out of, or he learns to hold on to the ball better, or get that spider sense tingling that there's somebody near the ball and tuck it. But you don't want to completely take away that aspect of his game.
Right. And we have a comment from the Philly Talk podcast, actually a big podcast on YouTube. Does Zach have his own channel? So that's a little bit – when they ask that, it means it's worth telling. Do you have a channel on YouTube?
I do have a channel on YouTube. I'm not really into it that much. I really do radio shows. I have a local radio show in New York on Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM.
Sweet. So pretty much this guy is going to be here from here on out. Yeah, he's very smart. Obviously, if he hasn't proven anything to you tonight, he will throughout the season. That is Zach Harris, pretty much going to be the producer probably half the time during the season because I go on the road a lot. So he'll be helping me out a lot. And so I hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. You know, this is another random show, but we had to take care of it because, you know, there's a lot of bullshit going on the internet talking about the Eagles team that, let's face it, we're not talking about the team, we're talking about one player. And it's got to.
Before you go, Boobity Boppity wanted me to tell you that he's laughing at you like Jordan was on his iPod.
Well, the reason why Boopity Boppity isn't on the show tonight is because his number one, his camera doesn't work. Number two, his T-shirt was like, "What the fuck was that?" And number three, he was kind of stupid last night, so that's why he's not here. Yo, Zach, what's your Twitter link? Philly Talk Podcast.
Oh my God, I don't remember these things. Let me look real quick.
Mm-hmm. All right, so he's getting his Twitter link up. Philly Talk Podcast, shout out to them. Amassed 4,000 subscribers, I think, 2 weeks ago. And then they're up and coming. They're a really good show. Good show, guys. Great job. That's what Danny Lukenheimer says. He's a regular on the show. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Kyle, you say you only care about winning games, but Hurts wins over 95% of his games, but you say he sucks. The reason why I say he sucks is because you look at the talent around him. He was with Alabama and Oklahoma, all had pieces around him. And when it came to big games, other than that SEC game where he came in for 2 at halftime when the rules were reversed, he really hasn't done anything. I mean, that the one national title that he got was because of Tua. That's why I say he's not very good. But you'll see it. You'll see it down the road. And
my Twitter handle is at @4_love of sports.
Okay. All right. So if you guys understood that, you want to repeat that?
It's at @4_love of sports. You can also check me out on Facebook. You just go to For the Love of Sports, and it's basically me wearing my hat backwards as the logo.
All right, sweet. I'll send that out on my Twitter as well. My Twitter is FLE Podcast 1. We also have our own version, which is basically Zomp. It's Eagles_pod, and that is our new Fly Like an Eagle podcast Twitter account, which is growing rapidly. I suggest you go check it out. It's pretty entertaining because it is only Zomp talking, and he's just really fucking. He's like the devil on there. He's funny, but you'll enjoy it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are out, and have a blessed night, everyone, and stay safe, stay home, and hopefully these restrictions get lifted soon. Peace.